right, so I think the stream thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, Mega ZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another podcast episode. That being my ZardCast episode 82. Now, oh goodness, this is gonna be the third episode of the trifecta, is what I like to call as the season of summer gaming. No, so an episode, oh goodness, yeah, episode 80 kick things off. Obviously, that was with the state of play. 81, we talked about the Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Showcase. And now that we're on episode 82, yes, you saved the best for last. So we got to talk about the Nintendo Direct. And actually, for every one of my topics for tonight, they're all Nintendo centric focused, though. So we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct. We're going to be talking about how the bird got caught. Yes, the leaker has managed to get caught. So I'm about to go ahead and roast and fry a bird here up on this podcast tonight, though. Country fried steak style tonight. But yeah, I got to talk about that. We got a release date for the Mario movie 2. They just randomly announced that and stuff, like right before the Nintendo Direct went live and stuff. And then obviously Nintendo had like their investors meeting and stuff. So they said or some of the investors gave them like a few questions and kind of grilled Nintendo a little bit though. So I figured it might be nice to go through and talk about it though. So literally every single one of my topics tonight is gonna be related some shape or fashion around Nintendo as a whole. So you can just almost call this like a Nintendo podcast. So if you love yourself some Nintendo, I got you covered tonight. I got you covered though. Now, before I get up into all of those meaty Nintendo related topic goodness, I did manage to hit 1,000 subs on my YouTube channel, though. I already threw out an update video. It's like an individual upload over there on the channel, so you might have checked that out. And I actually already did like a 1,000 sub celebration stream. So that was like me, Steven, who's usually my co-host. I do not know what happened with him. He's supposed to be here right now, and I think he might have got knocked out or something. I have no idea. But you know what? The show must go on though. But yeah, it was me, him playing along with two of my other good buddies, Sonic and Yoshi. All four of us, we were going through and just playing some random games. We played some Mario Party Superstars and stuff. Also managed to play like original Mario Kart 64. We just went on the NSO side after we were done with the Mario Party stuff. So we played Mario Kart 64 a little bit, and I think we ended the whole stream off with Kirby though, and I thought there was like one more thing we did in the middle of that stream though. But I'll let you go ahead and check it out there though. But it was a lot of good fun, at least there. Oh, what was it? It was Mario Tennis. There you go. It just hit me though. Yeah, so we managed to play at least 4 good games over there though. So man, I streamed for like almost 4 hours on the main channel though. So y'all can check that out if you want to though. But I did say in the individual upload I would provide a little bit of history and stuff with some of the podcasts or the just me getting to the road of 1,000 subs, not to try to double or reiterate on anything in that individual video I uploaded though. But oh man, it's crazy to think that I managed to hit 1,000 subs, and nothing's really going to change in the way how I kind of handle or upload or do things with the podcast. At least for now, though, I know for a lot of y'all out there, you think, hey, if you hit 1,000 subs, you can go ahead and monetize the channel. Though there's a little bit more things behind it, though, especially with watch time hours, which are not quite there yet. So take a little bit more time before you can see anything like that change on the channel, though. But that is something I'm looking forward to whenever it does come. But I'll keep y'all informed, though. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody out there for all of the love and support, especially if you listen to this podcast, whether it be here on the YouTube side of things, though, or if you happen to be listening to it on the as an audio format. So if you're listening to it on YouTube Music, Apple, Spotify, podcasts, or like Amazon Music, wherever you happen to be listening to this podcast, I just want to thank y'all for all of the love and all of the support because I wouldn't be able to hit this huge milestone marker if it weren't for lovely people out there like y'all selves though. And it's crazy because I started my YouTube career, I think it was around 2019. It was in the lead up to Sword and Shield dropping. That's when I decided to do this. So it took 5 long years down this whole entire stretch though. And man, it's been a wild old process though. But major hats off to Steven because I know he's usually my co-host here on the channel though. He's usually here like 85% of the time. This is one of those weird 15% that he isn't though. But I did want to tip my hat off to him, man. So yeah, so I think that's all of the major spill I wanted to give out for the 1,000 subs. So we might as well go ahead and jump straight up into all of these great old interesting topics though. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into that pop culture segment. you know what? I was trying to do my little animation stuff though, and of course, that mess ain't even working right now though. Dang it. Oh well. Oh, that's the reason why. Here we go. You know what? Forget it. No, we're going to keep this mess rolling. No transitions tonight. No funky transitions. We're just going to stream roll this thing now. All right, so here we go. So we're going to be talking about the Super Mario Brothers 2 movie release date announced, though. So it was weird because in the lead up to this, right before the Nintendo Direct managed to air, Miyamoto came out on like Nintendo Japan's account and it was like, this is Miyamoto. They didn't translate this or nothing like that though. But he basically came out and gave us the release date for what will be the Super Mario Bros. 2 movie though. So it's not coming out next year in 2025. It would have been nice if it would have been the case though. However, it's not literally supposed to drop out until 2026. And I gotta hit this little translate thing over here though. But this is the statement he basically said. So he said, "Hello, this is Miyamoto. We'll be broadcasting a Nintendo Direct tonight," which has already transpired. But before that, I would like to make an announcement. The release date for Super Mario animated movie in Japan has been set for April 24th, 2026. We are working with Illumination team to make it a fun movie, so please look forward to it though. Now, mind y'all, trying to remember in terms of the first Mario movie. I'm trying to remember. I think we had that state size here in America release a little bit before I think it dropped out in Japan. I'm not sure if they're going to rinse, wash, and repeat that same formula, and we're still going to get it a little bit before that. Or is that just a worldwide release and we're all getting it on that date? That's going to be a little bit interesting though. But at the latest, it will be April 24th, 2026. We could get a little bit earlier if you live here in America or though or whatnot. But at least for now, that's the tentative date that we're all going off of, at least at this point right here though. So it's nice to be able to have a release date for it though. And that kind of gives us an idea like they announced this thing. It was in the works way before I believe they announced the Legend of Zelda movie though. So you imagine if you're also looking forward to the Legend of Zelda movie, it's going to be probably way later than that. So you're looking at probably 2027 or later if you want to, really look forward to seeing that movie released though. But honestly, it's a very simple news update right there. Nothing too flashy or nothing too forward or anything like that though. But that's basically it in terms of, all of the pop culture stuff. So let's go ahead and transition towards what's in the gaming news. All right. So first up, we got to talk about this right here, Luigi's Mansion 2. Now, this game came out last Thursday. Last Thursday. It wasn't even that long ago, though. Last Thursday, though. However, this game in particular kind of treaded the same kind of waters that its predecessor did, or not predecessor. It's, well, other Nintendo Switch first party IP where if you remind y'all with Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door in the lead up to it, if you happen to place some pre-orders for stuff for it via Walmart, or if you happen to pre-order the game on Amazon and stuff, it seemed like everything was hunky dory, all good though, but they managed to do some cancellations at the last second though. And I guess Mario's brother Luigi could not catch a break either though, because they started going through and canceling all of the Walmart and the Amazon pre-orders and stuff like that though. And then even for Walmart, you can still get it from Walmart, but they had that same message of, hey, you got to come in stores and pick it up though. So it's weird because at this point it's so odd for Nintendo to exclude, especially Amazon, because they sell so many games and stuff and other things on that storefront. Because it's online, you'd order it, it ships straight to your house. Very easy, plain and simple though. But the fact that they're excluding a whole major retailer such as Amazon, it just makes me. I'm fully confident, or almost, I would say 98%. I feel like Nintendo has been going through the background and working out logistics on this stuff because there's no way they would lead them out on this unless they're doing some actual harm. And the actual harm I think that they may possibly be doing to them, I think is just the whole entire thing of them feel like they're the ones that are actually going through and leaking games or giving early access copies to people that aren't supposed to get them. Like, imagine if you place an order out on Amazon or Walmart and you say, ship it to my house or whatever, the game. Normally they will release on Fridays, but now it seems like most Nintendo games are releasing on Thursday now. So, albeit if they're supposed to release on Thursday, imagine getting your game brought to you by Monday or Tuesday of that week already. That means it's like 4 or 5 days out before the street date breaks, and they're already going ahead and either dumping this stuff up online. That's how people are sometimes able to just rip the game or the ROM and stuff from the internet and stuff and playing it on emulators and stuff. Like, remember that whole scenario with Tears of the Kingdom? I'm fully confident. I feel like Nintendo has managed to find their leaking issue though, because for the most part, I feel like with most Nintendo games up in the lead up to launch, especially with Pokemon games, it's notorious for that though. But I feel like with most of their games in the lead up to launch, they always manage to leak. And I'll see a little bit of it or hear people saying, hey, go ahead and start muting your little words or whatever on Twitter. And I have not heard that nearly as much recently with the games that have released in 2024, starting with like Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door and onward, though, than I did in like previous years, though. So I feel like Nintendo is definitely tightening it up, at least with a lot of their what could be potentially leaks though. So that's really interesting to kind of think about right there though, because I wasn't thinking they might actually find all the holes that they had up in this ship though, but I guess apparently they did though. So it's really nice that they were able to kind of figure that out though, because I think that might literally fix their issue moving from this point forward though. So honestly, pretty good stuff. It just kind of sucks if you happen to really like ordering your stuff from Walmart or Amazon, and it's just kind of left up in limbo though. I wish they would kind of fix that out, but I guess not. It's just unfortunate though. But yeah, let me know. At me on Twitter. Let me know in the comments if you happen to be one of those people that placed your order via Walmart or Amazon. If you bought Luigi's Mansion 2 and you managed to get a cancellation, do you get any kind of credit back towards your account or anything like that, or anything similar, a gift card, whatever though? I'd love to see it down in the comment section down below though. But that's basically it in terms of that topic though. So we'll keep this train on the rolling though, because we gotta fry ourselves up a stinking bird, man. I told Steven, I was like, hey, bring in your papers, screenshot these tweets, all right? Because I want to know where this gosh dang bird went. Because this dude, he got caught, he got burned, he got, stuck to the stake, whatever you want to call it. Because the second that he got caught, his account went dark. I mean, it went pitch black. He took down his profile pic. He took down anything that he had up in the descriptions or whatever, though, and went through and deleted all of his tweets. I mean, every single last one of them. Then privated the account as well, though. So I was like, shoot, I never followed the dude. So I was like, take some screenshots or whatever, though. I'm not sure if he did or not, but he's not here tonight, though. But man, he just went on total radio silent, though. So for those that don't know, I would say Pyro was definitely one of the well known leakers. That was the most credible one that we probably ever had, to be honest, though. I think him and and Midori are probably like the two predominant leakers that we, for the most part, could almost fully trusted in terms of just the information they were relaying. That information alone, though. But it's crazy how Midori and Puro went down within like the span of like a few weeks from each other, though. I don't want to get into all of the nitty gritty and stuff with Midori, though. But sometimes when you get out there on the internet and stuff, you might be able to put up a kind of facade to kind of make people think that you are this when you really aren't necessarily that. That's all I would say on that though. But at least with Piero, a lot of people were trusting that, hey, we can still rely on this bird though. But apparently he did a interview with Jason Schreier, who's just like just a press release dude. Like he literally will write articles and stuff like that though. So he was just basically doing an interview with Piero in terms of like where he might potentially get his information from or whatever though. But in one of the things that he asked him to, he said something on the lines basically of saying, hey, wherever you get your source from, is it possible they're getting something off of the back end? And Piero said like, yeah, sources from Nintendo of Japan. And it's interesting how he said Nintendo of Japan because it's technically it's not referred to as Nintendo of Japan like Nintendo of America or Nintendo of Europe. It's actually referenced as like something else though, but not Nintendo Japan specifically. So it's kind of weird why he worded it like that. But then on top of that though, he literally said, well, it was just crazy. Also, the fact that he said his person was from Nintendo Japan. So even if the naming of it wasn't necessarily right, the fact that he possibly outed his source that yeah they came from that branch, it wasn't none of these other branches. It came straight from somebody that was working in Japan potentially though. And then he said yes, the back end possibility might have been how they were getting their information. So between both those two things, it was crazy because in the report and stuff, once he blasted that mess out there on Twitter about his like the interview with Pyro, and one of the messages below it, he was like, "Wait a minute, I didn't think you were gonna say that from the interview up on there." I think that was the last thing that he might have said, and that was public for everybody to see. And then after that, he just started going dark, and deleting tweets, private in the account, making the deleting the profile pic and everything like that. Like he was ghosting everybody at that point, though. And I was like, "Gosh, dang." Oh man, I felt like I was the JJJ off of Spider-Man though, and I was like, get me Spider-Man at this point though. I was telling Steven that though, because I really wanted to know where the heck this bird ran off from. And I was like, that's how you know I don't think this dude was either really old or didn't really know exactly what he was doing, or didn't think like twice or even think about it like three times to himself, like, wait, I'm talking to somebody that's gonna give out a report, go public with this interview. Even if you say try to keep something off of the record or whatever, though, you have to take everything that they say with a grain of salt. Because who's to say that you never know if they're gonna say something or word away words in some kind of way and stuff? Because even though you can say something, keep it off the record, though, you can't go into that with that mindset that they're gonna honor that. If that makes sense, though. So it's just crazy how he outed his source, like where they potentially could be residing at, and the method of how they were doing it though. It was just dumb though. I'm like, oh my goodness though. So yeah, so within the span of a few weeks, Midori's out the door and Puro's out the door though. So now we don't really have any well-known credited leakers like that anymore that could potentially be giving us some games and stuff. So I felt like at least from the lifespan of Pure up on this, I think he managed to survive for about three Nintendo Directs. It was this one, I think the last one, and maybe one before it. It was like, yeah, this one, the partner direct, and one before this stuff. And the reason why a lot of people were thinking, oh wait, did he lose his spunk or whatever? No, it was literally because of the fact that how in the lead up to this June Nintendo Direct, he literally said, "Don't expect too much from first party games." And then in one of his tweets, he gave out like a picture of something that didn't resemble anything as like a hint or a potential clue to anything we got in our American Direct, but it was from Japan's Nintendo Direct. So that kind of let people, yes, it was whatever the information they're getting it from is straight from Japan or whatever though. And then what was it? I thought there was one more thing, but now it's kind of slipping my mind a little bit though. But basically, the fact you're gonna say don't it was the Legend of Zelda announcement. He was saying he didn't feel too confident about this, and this was maybe from another possible source he had though. But he said maybe a Legend of Zelda remake, but we figured out that that was a brand new Legend of Zelda game though. So he striked out a couple or a few times up on that, which kind of also led to his downfall as well, though. So it was like, yeah, it was only going to be a matter of time before these ninjas kind of caught him, though. But the reason how he was possibly getting this information was, yes, because of the back end, but it was possibly due to the fact of how Nintendo put some information of like some pre-order pages on their website, and whoever had access to it, like his source or whatever, though, had access to that individual backend. But in the lead up to this Nintendo Direct, they didn't put anything in the back end for their stuff though, or not nearly as much as what they normally do, especially with their first party games or whatever though. And that's why Pyro in the lead up to this direct didn't really have a lot of information to go off of, though. So it's a really interesting tale about these leakers and stuff. And yes, I don't condone the actions or whatever they do. It was kind of funny seeing the fallout and stuff like this, though, and seeing that bird fried country fried steak style. But nonetheless, though, the bird is done. He's cooked. He cooked the goose, and he's firmly into all of the Nintendo employees' bellies at this point, though. But oh man, it's interesting though. Nintendo's really going through and plugging up all these holes in the ship. Should be pretty interesting with the Switch 2 stuff coming up. So now there's not going to be as many people talking about rumors and stuff. I mean, guys, you can kick up and make up a rumor or whatever though, but no like hardcore confirmed leaks. So that's actually good, or something I'm really looking forward to is the fact that hey, nothing should really leak, at least not in the way how we've been kind of seeing it from in times past though. All right, so that should basically do it in terms of everything I had to say about Puro falling from grace from the leaking scene, though. So we'll keep this train rolling and move on over to the next topic because we did manage to get Nintendo's shareholder meeting. Now, this was technically after the Nintendo Direct actually took place. It's actually been like a couple weeks now. I feel like it's already been like an eon though, but no, not necessarily though. But they did manage to obviously do their little investors meeting and stuff. And, this is basically all the people that have stocks or shares with Nintendo and stuff. So they're able to kind of freely ask them questions about their business strategies or what they would like to see or what Nintendo might be possibly thinking, though. And it's interesting, though, because some of this stuff actually ties directly back to what potentially could have happened with Pure, because at least in some of their stuff that they mentioned at the shareholder meeting, they did say that Nintendo says that they are aware of all the leaks that have happened and are taking measures to prevent them from happening in the future, though. So, employing information security companies and increasing employee training, though. And I imagine at this point, whoever had access to that back end is probably fired at this point. Like, it probably doesn't take two and two for all those ninjas to kind of, put their heads together and be like, all right, who has access to this back end at the Nintendo or at the branch for Nintendo in Japan? Okay, I'm looking at you. It's either one of y'all, two or three. Go ahead and fess up because now we can just check logs and see who logged in up on this thing. Though, so I don't know. It's just crazy how some of these leakers and stuff that they think they can kind of get away with this stuff, or I guess they're just really chasing like internet clout. Really, I think that's like one of the main reasons why. Because otherwise, I'm like, I don't see the reward for it outside like maybe some little bit of internet fame. Because I mean, it's not really going to last you in the long run. In the long run of things, though. So yeah, that is it's just a little bit unfortunate though. Just a little bit unfortunate though. All right, so here we go. All right, so I did manage to find and all of this stuff is coming from Oatmeal Dumps. All right, so I think we're gonna run like this for at least a little bit of time though, because I don't know what the heck happened with my mic though. It kind of just blew up on me though. So give me 1 second here just to sort things out real quick, and it shouldn't take too long though. Testing 1 2 3. All right, there we go. I think I should be working on and going now though. I don't know why it was messing up like that though. Good gracious. And that's usually why I like having my boy over here, Steve, and he kind of points this stuff out in case something like that happens though. But I didn't have him this time around though. Just making sure. Oh, okay, yeah. So y'all probably hearing this. I think it's just on my microphone side though. But anyway, though. So what I was about to say was we're just gonna go ahead and just I got all of the messages and stuff from Oatmeal Dome, who was actually the one that kind of went through and translated most of the stuff from the shareholder meeting though. So it's always good to actually be able to listen to him up on that. But I'm just going to run through some of the questions and stuff and then some of the answers and stuff that they actually provided back from the shareholder meeting though. So so the question was the Switch software lineup has a lot of Mario, Zelda, etc. Are there plans to make new IP? So their answer to that was we are thinking about developing games for both our customers who enjoy our existing IP and our customers who want something new. So that's interesting right there because obviously Nintendo, they're always going to be trying to do some new IPs and stuff like that. Like they aren't just nearly consistent or not consistent, content on always trying to do, just trying to always just do the same old stuff like a same Mario game, same Zelda, same Kirby, same Legend of Zelda, whatever though. They're always going to shake things up. So they're always going to keep trying to create new IPs though, because you never know. Things like Splatoon or whatever blew up, so now that's a main staple for them though. So you never know what other idea they can come up with that could also be a main staple. So you just have to kind of keep all of that in mind though. So there was another question they said. So recently it was reported. Okay, well I was about to read that one though. That was basically the whole entire thing I mentioned with Pyro and stuff though. So that was really interesting though. All right, so here's another one. So I heard of a case where a cosplayer of Nintendo IP sexually harassed minors on social media. I like to hear what Nintendo can do about this. And what they said was, we can't comment on individual cases, but we do not tolerate discrimination or harassment, as basically as any other employee or not employee, as any company really should though. So another one, the yen is currently weak. So if exchange rates remain the same, the next gen Switch will be expensive. Will it be cheaper only in Japan? And to their answer, they said, we cannot comment on next gen, but we have no plans to raise current Switch prices in Japan. So this is interesting because if you remember, I think it was shortly after the era of COVID. I think it was 2021, 2022. I remember in every other or a handful of other countries outside of America, it actually drove the price up throughout the console generation for like the PS5 and stuff. Whereas Nintendo has been holding strong and steady to the 350 for the Switch OLED, 300 for the standard basic Switch, or 200 for the Switch Lite. So to their credit, even though inflation stuff is happening, the yen is not nearly as strong as like the dollar or whatever here in America. No, give them credit. They're still selling the Nintendo Switch, at least in Japan, for the same amount as what it originally was. So that's kind of cool though. And I like how they try to squeeze a little bit of information out there for the Switch 2 though, but Nintendo wasn't biting on that one though. Let's hear. Let's look at another one here. So they said, I would like to hear more about your relationship with NVIDIA. And for their answer, they said, we work with NVIDIA to develop the chip using the Nintendo Switch and its system software. Our Switch business is still ongoing, so our relationship does as well, though. I feel like they might have been trying to grill them for this just a little bit of information because. I feel like there's a strong there's a strong chance I would say that they're going to use or partner with Nvidia again to get some kind of custom chip to be put into the Nintendo Switch 2 at this point though. So I feel like these investors are asking some kind of tricky questions though. They're trying to get a little bit of information out of them. But once again, Nintendo ain't biting. Like they're the fat fish in the pond and all that good bait they got up on the hook, it just ain't it just ain't good enough for them though. All right, so let's look at another one here. So, question: I like to hear about Nintendo. I like to hear about how Nintendo is using AI. That's a good question right there. That's a good one right there. What they basically said is generative AI can be used for creative purposes, but there are problems related to intellectual property rights. We want to have a flexible attitude while prioritizing the game experience, though. So, this response, I feel like you got to read in between the lines just a little bit, though. So I feel like with this one, it's like if it was just purely about work or mitigating like those little medial tasks, feel like they would jump on the opportunity just to make and streamline things and make it a little bit easier though. But they don't want to necessarily do things from a creative sense that's gonna infringe on other copyright stuff. Because look, remember when Power World came out earlier this year and stuff like that? I feel like some of those models of like rip off Pokemon, I'll say that, feel like might have been generated from AI or something like that though. So they'll hate to do that to somebody else, considering how it might have possibly been done with one of their IPs though. So it's kind of interesting when you think about it like that though. And I think outside of that, those are some of the most interesting questions I think that we basically heard from the investors though. So they try to grill them over the coals, at least just a little bit in terms of like, Switch 2 information though. But Nintendo wasn't biting on none of that stuff though. And it's interesting how they said stuff about, generative AI and stuff, and how they're not necessarily big fans of it. Emphasis on yet. Eventually, all these companies are going to want to use it at some degree, though. But I imagine if anybody's going to implement AI up in the mix, though, it's definitely going to take, I will say, Nintendo probably the longest in terms of doing this, in comparison to like other countries, in terms of other companies out there though. So yeah, it will definitely take them a hot minute before they'll be able to kind of get their toes up in the water on this one though. But yeah, I think that's basically it in terms of all the interesting questions that the shareholders managed to grill Nintendo over at this recent shareholder meeting though. So now, without any further ado, it's time to get into the real meat and potatoes of this show tonight, though, because yes, we managed to have a Nintendo Direct. And this one right here, I would say is like one of the best directs we managed to have, period, in a long, long time. Like I'm thinking back, we obviously have a lot of great Nintendo Directs throughout the whole entire life of the Nintendo Switch. And considering how the fact we had the Switch 2 on the distant horizon, we know that this might very well possibly be the last Nintendo Direct that has been, I would say focused on Nintendo Switch related games. Because the next one, let's assume if they announce the Switch 2 around October-ish or whatever though, and we know that they might try to have an internal release date for the Switch 2, let's just say March or whatever though, this might be one of the weird years where we might not get a fall direct though. Like literally one of the games that we managed to get in this thing happened to be a game set for January or whatever though. So who's to say we don't get a fall direct this year though, because we know we're gonna get some giant presentation that will set us up in the wintertime or something for the rest of 2025 though. So who's to say though? But yeah, if this happens to be the last direct that's focused purely around Nintendo Switch titles though, man, they ended this mess out in style because I was expecting nothing but a bunch of ports, remakes, and remasters. But they gave us that and a whole lot more from both first party as well as third party developed games, though. So we might as well go ahead, start it from the very top, and work our way through all of these different announcements and stuff like that, though. So they did manage that, and throughout most of this stuff, I'll hit the major heavy hitters in terms of first party and third party, though. There are going to be a few exceptions that I probably won't have included in my list, though, that really weren't doing it for me, though. But a lot of these were. So I'm going to have them up here in the list anyway, though. So the thing that opened up the show, the thing that got this whole thing kicked off was Mario and Luigi Brothership. This right here, I looked at this and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I looked at this mess and I was like, dang, I thought Mario and Luigi was dead in the water. Like, obviously, if y'all know, Alpha Dreamer, the creators, the Mario and Luigi series. Everything that spanned from Superstar Saga all the way up to Dream Team was like the last new one that we had, and I think that was like literally over a decade ago. And that last game came out on the 3DS though. Once Dream Team released, I think we managed to get remakes. So Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Bowser's Inside Story though. And then after that, they filed for bankruptcy. Nintendo wasn't willing to bail them out or buy them out or anything like that, though. But it was unfortunate though, so we kind of didn't know what the future could be for Mario and Luigi though. But the fact they start off with this presentation, what another Mario and Luigi game, not necessarily a remake or remaster of an older one, but a brand new one in the entry or for the series. Man, that's a way to start off this direct, though. I was like, gosh dang, I certainly wasn't expecting this. And it does have its release date scheduled out for November 7th. So, you know what? I'm really looking forward to this game, especially the fact it comes out a week before my birthday. So I was like, you know what, Nintendo, y'all cool in my books. Y'all are really cool. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this one though. And I imagine a lot of y'all out there as well, if you love the Mario and Luigi series or just, you know, RPGs in general, though, because now when you think about this, between Super Mario RPG and then Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake, and now Mario and Luigi Brothership, they released three Mario RPG games within the span of 1 year. All of those games were separated by 6 months. There's no good reason for them to do that if they're not reevaluating every single one of their Mario RPG series games, though, and just trying to figure out what's a strong direction for each one of these franchises moving forward, though. I'm not sure if we're going to get anything in the style of Super Mario RPG, but there could be elements of it that could be pumped into the Paper Mario series or the Mario and Luigi series moving from this point forward, though. So it's really interesting. I know they're definitely testing some waters though, so hopefully everybody goes out there and supports this game though, because out of all of these series, like between Paper Mario, Super Mario RPG, and then Mario and Luigi, Mario and Luigi is the one that I personally grew up on, and then later on I think it was like Super Paper Mario. That's where I kind of got my introduction to the Paper Mario series though, but I definitely have a soft spot for the Mario and Luigi series though. So it's just great to see this game or game series to be brought back and rise out of the ashes though. I'm like, thank freaking goodness. All right, so they kicked off the show like that. Obviously, then you got to sizzle it out just a little bit though, because now you got these fans riled and hyped up though. So you got to remind them of some older games though, or some other games that were previously announced though. So they just reminded us that the Nintendo World Championships, the NES edition, that's also releasing on July 18th though. They showed a little bit more footage of some other games that we might not necessarily saw in some past trailers. So that game is still looking cool. I'm definitely getting the physical edition because I like that gold NES edition part. So I'm like, yes, I definitely have to pick up that because I'm like, oh my goodness, that one looks freaking incredible right there though. And then also, I'm looking at this, and then they also managed to give us a new update for Nintendo Switch Sports because they added in a basketball mode. I was like, what on earth? Like this game came out, mind you, 2 whole years ago. And then the fact that the game came out 2 whole years ago, I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, what are they doing? Just randomly adding in you know, a DLC update like this. Luckily, yes, it is free. It doesn't cost you any money or anything like that. So I was like, oh, thank goodness for that though. But I was like, I guess. I mean, the game did sell like really well though. So it's just kind of crazy how they're still supporting this, but you would have thought they would have supported this kind of closer to the actual release date of when they should have been doing this though. But man, that was something. I didn't have that one on my bingo card to say the least though. And then they had some third party stuff, such as like the Among Us update, which I mean, Among Us is Among Us. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But the fact that I had it on this list is the fact how this was one of the reasons why we managed to have this Nintendo Direct possibly leaked beforehand, and everybody was thinking, okay, it's probably going to be out here releasing on this Tuesday because the Among Us people they dropped a trailer on their channel saying, hey, we got an update releasing out on this day, and then they removed it. So then I had a lot of people believe it. Oh, okay, that Nintendo Direct is probably going to come out on that day, and yes, that happened to be exactly the case, though. Now this next game right here, Donkey Kong Country Returns. Oh boy, Man, I was telling Steven in the lead up to this event, I was like, hey, look, I really want to have a new Donkey Kong Country game, right? It could come out in 2025. I just want something new. Nintendo must have clearly heard me and said, you know what, we'll throw you a bone, but we ain't throwing you like the whole entire chicken over here, like with the good season and stuff. No, no, no. We're just throwing you literally a bone. Because yes, they gave us a new Donkey Kong game. It's coming out in January though, but it's not new. It's actually 3 times old. Like literally, even though they call the game Donkey Kong Country Returns, it's really called Donkey Kong Country Returns, Returns, Returns. Because we had this game originally on the Wii, and then came back over here on the 3DS, and now we're getting it over here on the Nintendo Switch. Giving them a little bit of credit because of the fact of how give them a little bit of credit considering the fact of how now they're actually adding in a little bit of content up in the game with, I would say, those 3DS levels. They're actually incorporating some of that stuff from the 3DS version into the Nintendo Switch. So, if it weren't for that, I don't know if I would have picked this game up again though. But as things stands now, I might pick it up because it's been a while since I played Returns. I mean, shoot, if it might have been, yeah, a decade and a half, almost a decade and a half since I probably seen this though. So yeah, it's something to say though. But my major pet peeve about this whole entire thing is the fact of how, why in the world it's officially been over a stinking decade since we managed to have a brand new Donkey Kong game. Mind you, we had Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii. We had Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Wii U. We had Donkey Kong Country Returns again on the 3DS. We had Donkey Kong then we had Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Nintendo Switch. Now we're going back to returns on the Nintendo Switch. We just been doing nothing but flipping and flopping back and forth for the past decade. Now I think some of the issue might lie with Retro Studios, how they might have been working on a game and it got canceled or whatever though. Now they're working on Metroid Prime 4. Nintendo might not feel super confident with anybody else messing with the Country Returns series for Donkey Kong outside of Retro Studios though. So maybe that's the reason why we got held up on this series for so long though. But I think in decades since we had the last Donkey Kong game, whether it be 2D or 3D, but in our case it's technically 2D. Dang, that really sucks. I'm just saying right there. I'm like, come on, Nintendo. Like, y'all slipping over here. Y'all just tripping over here. Y'all been slipping on all these bananas and stuff. Donkey Kong and Diddy and Dixie and them all been thrown out there, though. Man, oh, shoot. I don't know. They need to get their crap together because I need a new one, though. But I guess for the time being, this is just going to have to work. It's just going to have to work. Ugh. My goodness. All right. So after that announcement, it definitely caught me by surprise. But after that one, we started diving back into the third party games though. And Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D. Oh my gosh, that game looks freaking gorgeous. I'm telling you. Because the last time I think we saw this, I felt like it was like a couple or a few years ago. And outside of that original reveal for it, and them saying, yes, we're going to give the Dragon Quest 3 game the HD 2D treatment, it's been nothing but radio silence. And luckily, in the lead up to the Summer Game series and whatnot, though, like right before Summer Game Fest and stuff, their Dragon Quest account said basically Erdrick's trilogy game or the trilogy or its saga or whatever. I can't remember exactly how they phrased it though, but his era is coming. And that's how I knew whether it been at the Xbox showcase or the Nintendo Direct, we're gonna probably get some information on the HD 2D game though. And yes, we did manage to get it. And my goodness though, the art style looks great. All the environments look lovely and stuff. I could tell, and then they added in some obviously some quality of life stuff and stuff. Like I know, yes, we're still gonna have random encounters and stuff though, but they do have some speed up options in the game as well though, so it makes grinding just a little less tedious than what it does in the original though. So overall, this is going to be probably the definitive way to play Dragon Quest 3 at the end of the day though. So yes, I was like, yes, I'm really looking forward to this game though. It's coming out on November 14th. That is the day of my birthday, and to that I say thank you, thank you, thank you, Nintendo though, because oh man, I'm gonna play my heart out up on this game though. I just hate how Mario and Luigi Brotherhood comes out on the 7th, so that's 7 days before my birthday. And then Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D comes out on my actual birthday, though. So 1 week difference between the two. Oh man, it's gonna be a busy November for me. I must say though, but nonetheless though, my birthday month, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good. But that wasn't all the Dragon Quest love we managed to get, because then as soon as they were done with that, their little art graphic, which was beautifully done, mind you, it slid over there to the left, and then you got to see the other heroes and stuff pop up right behind Erdrick. And yes, they did confirm that Dragon Quest 1 plus 2 is also getting the HD 2D treatment. So those two are going to basically be bundled together as one experience, though. And that is scheduled to come out some point in 2025, though. So they had like one of the developers and stuff, kind of talk about the game just for a little period of time after the fact, and saying how, yes, in terms of the timeline, it's three and then it's one and two. So that's the way he recommends you playing it, though. So don't feel bad playing the third game first and then going back and playing the first and second game, because in terms of the timeline and stuff, it just makes sense like that. So don't worry about it though. So play three when it comes out, then you can go back and play one and two when it comes out though. So honestly, some really great stuff right there though. So that man, that was a solid third party segment right there though. Next up, you had some other small little games, such as like Metal Slug. They managed to get a new game or something like that. I think the Metal Slug one was like the one of the few games that managed to get a shadow drop release during the direct. Not as many shadow drops in this one as like what we had in times past, though. Then we managed to get over there to the NSO expansion pass stuff though. So where we had all of those good old N64 games as well as some GBA games. So nothing for the basic tier like Game Boy, NES, SNES, none of that stuff. You had to be expansion pass tier to enjoy all of this though. So we managed to get Zelda 4 Swords. So that's basically like a link to the past for GBA that also came with Zelda 4 Swords. Like all of those are bundled together in that GBA game. So you have access to playing that and Metroid Zero Mission. We knew that that game was supposed to be coming out on NSO, but it took their sweet long time to do this though. But I think there was a reason behind it though. I'm just saying though. We'll get to that announcement at the end though. But Zelda 4 Swords, that's cool because now it's like a lot more people are going to be able to play that game in all of its glory like you should with up to four players though. Because mind you, back in the day, you had to have at least two GBA link cables, the wire ones, or you gotta have four different adapters or whatever to all get everybody synced up, ready to go to play this game, as well as multiple copies of the game. Now it's just NSO, have everybody link up over online and bada bing, bada boom. Or if you have four switches in the same, household or whatever, and you're able to experience this though. So really cool stuff. And then on the Nintendo 64 side of things, this is where things got a little bit interesting because the fact that we managed to get the mature rated app that Nintendo Japan managed to get over there before we managed to get it over here, stateside or anywhere over here in the West, though. But with these two games, now we're able to get those mature games. So one of them happened to be Turok, which is interesting because you can actually buy Turok on the Nintendo eShop as it is right now. So that was an interesting pick, though. But if you hadn't bought it on the eShop, you can just experience the game like this. And then we managed to get another rare game because at this point, I feel like Nintendo burned through all their first party stuff except for what was it, Donkey Kong 64 and Diddy Kong Racing. Albeit those are also kind of rare games as well, though. And then also Smash Brothers 64. Like those are like the last few. So outside of those few, I think the best 64 games we're going to get now are mostly rare titles, though. And they did manage to give us Perfect Dark. That's actually really cool because in the Xbox showcase, they did manage to showcase off a first look at the new Perfect Dark game that's going to be offered for them over there. And it was nice for Xbox to collaborate with Nintendo and say, hey, here's the original Perfect Dark on the 64. So y'all can go ahead and add that over there to the service though. So Xbox is still playing very nice with Nintendo. I do really like and appreciate that right there though. And I actually been going through and dabbling with Perfect Dark because that was out of the four games right there. That's the one I've been messing with the most since the Nintendo Direct has transpired. And at least with that game right there, it still has the same weirdo, wacky controls that GoldenEye has for the NSO. which where you have to basically leave it on. I think it's either 1.2 or 1.4. You got to leave it on one of the. If you're trying to set this up for modern controls and play with a pro controller, mind you, you got to put it on 1.2 or 1.4. Then you need to remap your button controls in the system settings for your controller and switch the left analog stick and the right analog stick. You can change or disable some of the regular other buttons for like either the shoot button, because naturally the shoot button's on CL, but you can remap that to ZR to make it feel traditional. And then I think the free aim and stuff is on the R button, so I remap that to the ZL button. So then at that point, it feels like a modern day shooter. I don't know why there's nothing like that in terms of like the settings and stuff. I wish there was an easy way to remap the 64 buttons though, because unless you're playing with original 64 controller, which I do have, it's sometimes a little bit tricky going through and playing some of these games the way how they have it all set up with the C buttons and everything else for these 64 games. Like, by the time you're going through and emulating this stuff via their service and stuff, some of the stuff just doesn't quite line up as well as what it possibly could have, though. So that's just like my one pet peeve, though, because I play almost all my 64 games with a 64 controller, except for GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, because I wanted to play that like via modern controls. I had to always have preset button mappings that remap everything. Like I literally have one that's called GoldenEye, and I have one that's set called Perfect Dark whenever I want to play one of those two games now, though. So honestly, really good game drops for NSO. Not too snabby right there, not too snobby. All right, so after we were done with the NSO stuff, then they managed to hit us with some more third-party games, and Capcom literally came out and said, "I'm gonna take you for a ride. Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. I want to take you for a ride." Because they literally came out and announced that Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection is going to be dropping out on the Nintendo Switch. And that includes a lot of different games from like Punisher and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I think this one thing alone, even if you weren't like a fan of most first party Nintendo games or whatever, or if you're really like a diehard Xbox or a PlayStation fan or whatever, you happen to be watching this direct, that might have been the one announcement that really caught a lot of fans by surprise, especially if you're in the fighting community right there, because of the licensing and stuff with Marvel and stuff, with the way how Disney had that all locked up and stuff, those games got delisted, and a lot of those games that are in this collection are like stupidly expensive on eBay and stuff because you had to buy it for the original console, whatever it happened to release with back in the day, though. So the fact that they're fully modernizing this and bringing this forward to modern platforms is freaking amazing. I heard so many good things about Marvel vs. Capcom 2 alone, as well as Punisher. As that is like a good quality beat 'em up game though. So as it stands now, I did manage to pre-order the game. But I did want to have a physical copy of this because I don't want to get caught and have these games delist and not having a way to actually play these games now though. So I did pre-order it there. However, most of my friends are picking this game up on Steam, and there's no cross-play compatibility between, like playing on Nintendo Switch versus PC or PlayStation, and it's not coming to Xbox yet. There's something weird going on with that. Although for a lot of Xbox fans are kind of getting upset and in a tizzy though. But between all these different platforms, between PC, PlayStation, and Switch, there's no crossplay between them though. So that is a little bit sad. So they might actually somehow manage to get me to double dip on it though. All these games are only going to cost you about $50, so that's not necessarily too bad though. So if I do double dip and get a Steam copy, probably wait until it goes on sale or something like that if they're still actively playing it. But if not, then it is what it is. But honestly, that was really great. Definitely caught me by surprise. And even though Capcom, threw Sony a bone in terms of them announcing like a new Monster Hunter Rise, or not Monster Hunter Rise, a new Monster Hunter game and stuff, they still had some punches for the Nintendo Direct. So man, oh man, that was real good stuff right there, though. Um, I was about to say, well, I can say this. The 100 line Last Defense Academy is coming out early 2025. It looked okay or stuff like that. It wasn't, doing anything for me though. But if you happen to like that, that game's coming out. The next one was a major first party Nintendo game. Yes, Super Mario Party Jamboree coming out on October 17th. Man, oh man! So this is basically the second game that comes after Super Mario Party, which was the first Mario Party we had on the Nintendo Switch. So you can think about this as Super Mario Party 2, because the first 10 games of the Mario Party series were number 1 through 10. Now I guess they're dropping the number tagline and they're just dubbing it with the term super in the front though. So this is, for all sakes and purposes, like Super Mario Party 2 though. But the cool thing about this is they're taking the online infrastructure they managed to incorporate within Superstars and bring this over. So you can play with 4 people online, in the traditional way how you play Superstars and stuff. All cool. There's like over like 115 mini games or something like that, or somewhere around that ballpark. So there's plenty of mini games up in here though. In terms of boards, we have up to 7 boards up in this one. 5 of them that are brand new, and 2 of them that are classics coming from Mario Party 1 and 2 respectively though. One of them being the Rainbow Ride place. I can't remember the exact name of it though, but the one where you're walking around on clouds and rainbows and stuff from Mario Party, and Western Land from Mario Party 2. So great stuff. It's been a while since we had like 7 boards up in one game though. So that's really cool though. And then also they have this brand new online mode where you can play with upwards to 20 people online. 20 people playing online. And I was like, oh shoot. Like it seems like the scope of some of these boards, especially there's like one that's kind of themed around a racetrack and whatnot. Oh, wait, hold on here. What free? Oh man, I caught a joker up here in my stream. Oh my goodness, who is this?
It's me.
Man, what the heck happened to you?
I was running a little late myself, is all I'm going to say at the moment. And trust
Oh,
me,
okay.
I'm not
Oh, okay,
having a
okay.
great day myself.
Okay, all right, all right. I got you. I had you covered, man. No worries though. But oh shoot, I forgot I had you playing double up in my ear though. But what was I? Oh yeah, this is what I was about to get back to. So basically, I was midway in the Nintendo Direct stuff as well, though. I did manage to talk about all of this stuff in terms of like the. I already talked about Pyro. I talked about Walmart canceling Luigi's Mansion 2 stuff, and I talked about some of the shareholder questions though. But I
Oh,
was like,
then we're fine.
and I was like halfway into the Super Mario Party discussion right now though. So that's where I was at. Just kind of jog you up to speed, though. You didn't
Thank
have
you.
any. You didn't have anything to talk about with Puro, did you?
I think the Puro thing is extremely funny, especially just the way that Midori also kind of got outed in the last couple days. So now we're finally back to the next direct having absolutely no things leaked, which is kind of nice. It was really nice having actual surprises again. And it helped that this was one of the most stacked directs in a while, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I was saying though too. Though I told these people I was like, we're cooking the bird tonight. I roasted that bird over the coals tonight though. Like I had that mess country fried steak style. Uh, I doubt you probably know about that though. I think you ever had country
No.
fried. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't think you ever had country fried steak though. But rest assured that bird tasted pretty delicious. I must say so myself though. But yeah, oh, in terms of the direct stuff, well, we'll start back up where I left off at Super Mario Party. What do you think about that one?
Super Mario Party is going to be really interesting. Because listen, I'm inherently excited because of us getting a new Mario Party game. I'm excited. I like Mario Party. I love Mario Party Superstars. But them calling it Super Mario Party right out of the gate kind of worried me. You were there. We all kind of sighed when we seen it called Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Yeah, at first I was kind
Like,
of worried until they started showing off the boards, and I was like, wait a minute, some of the scope
yeah,
on some of these boards are like big. Like the Raceway one, they say like what you can roll like quadruple dice basically. If you roll 4 10s, you can move up to 40 spaces on the board. I was like, wait, you can move 40 with just like one roll like that. I'm like, how big is that map?
I don't know, man, but it's probably gonna be big. I like the gimmicks though. I like how each board really does feel unique.
Yeah. So yes, I think all of the boards look cool. I'm looking forward to the 20-player multiplayer thing. At first, yeah, we kind of were skeptical on it though, but I'm thinking I'm probably ain't gonna get this at release day because I feel like it's gonna be fun. Like I think like what you're probably sold on it at this point now, right? Like you're gonna be picking it up unless you see something like weird or something in the lead up to it that sways you.
So here's the thing. I was back and forth because I don't know if you remember me talking about this, Zard, but the issue that I found is that the online they were being extremely sketchy about. They kept talking about the 20-player online mode, the Kupathalon, but they didn't mention any online for the boards at all.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know if you
remember. I
remember me
remember.
saying that.
No, I remember hearing you say that though, but I was like, that'd be something you just have to see in the online or like, like how when you read the back of the box that says supports up to X amount of players, it'll be like one of those things you'll probably see on their website. So I was just waiting until I saw some kind of information on their back end or
Yeah.
whatever though. I
Like
doubt they would have specified that in the direct. Like they said 20 players, so a lot of people might assume, oh, 4 players should
yeah.
work normally.
I think because here's the thing, I don't know if you remember when Superstars was revealed, they kind of used that as a selling point for Superstars. Like this, I remember them mentioning when Superstars was releasing, them mentioning in the direct that this was like the first Mario Party game to be releasing with full online board play. So maybe they just didn't want to use the same selling point again, and they just wanted to advertise 20-player online more.
Which is kind of a
But yeah,
smart move because if you think about
I
it, it's
get it.
like if you put two and two together, then you would assume, oh, it should at least support up to four, especially considering the previous game Superstars had four. Yes, we kind of are in a little bit of uncharted territory though, but let's say the next Super Mario Party that comes after this on the Switch 2, and it has maybe a 20 or 50 player mode, whatever, but it still has the traditional four, then we know at this point it'll be a staple at that point that all future Mario parties will have online. Like it's still kind of new concept because this is only the second game we ever get. Technically third because the first Super Mario Party got a patch where you can play that online, but originally it wasn't like that. But yeah,
And then yeah, the original Super Mario Party getting online was just a test for Superstars, anyways. I think.
yeah,
Yeah, like that's the only reason they would have updated that game 3 years later.
yeah. No, that was a weird old update with that one. Yeah.
I think it was just another thing where like I think they just wanted to push sales for that game. They were just like, "Oh, wait a second. All we have to do to make more people buy Super Mario Party is add online." And it fucking worked because I bought it. I bought Super Mario Party only after they added online to it. I never owned it until then.
Oh, that's funny because I never got it originally at launch, and it wasn't until my brother for some reason gave me Super Mario Party for my or not birthday, Christmas. And I was like, what the heck? I looked at him, I was like, this is odd because it was like 2 or 3 years after the release of I think it was 2 years after the release of that game. I was like, man, I didn't hear good stuff about this game, but okay, I guess I'll play it with y'all if y'all ever want to. So if we play Mario Party, yeah, I was mostly just playing with my family or whatever with that. Now it's like the default thing if they want to play, it's Superstars. I don't even touch Super Mario Party.
Yeah, like it's good. It's just that we have a better Mario Party now, so
Yeah.
no reason to play it. It's just that in that weird middle ground between actual Mario Party and boring.
Yep.
But yeah, Jamboree looks like it's fixing all the problems with the original Super. The boards look really unique. They're really big. That's a main thing. The boards are big. They look a good size to where it doesn't feel like it's a goddamn square you're playing on, which is what Superstars had the issue with. Well, not Superstars, Super. And the
Yeah,
main
Super Mario
thing,
Party. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and this the naming schemes are so goddamn annoying. At least this one, you're just gonna be able to call Mario Party Jamboree. But
Yeah.
yeah, the best thing about this one, in my opinion, is that they're bringing back two old boards because that kind of bringing back old boards kind of makes them conform to those games' rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you
You
gotta at
can't.
least force that 20 coin for buying the star, unless you have like
Yeah,
a weird event like buying the star at half price, which we saw in the trailer, whatever though, which kind of scared you for a
yeah,
moment because you thought it was gonna be 10 coin stars. I was like, ain't no way they can do this again. That's too easy.
yeah. But then I seen flash sale in the corner, and then I listened to what the announcer said again, and I was like, oh my god, that's fine, because there have been boards in Mario Party past that did that. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember. There's a board in Mario Party 6 that lets you buy up to 6 stars at once for different prices, depending on what
Oh
it
yeah,
like
but
you know what.
you had to time that up with the day night cycle and then have enough money for it. So yeah, it
Yeah,
was just only unique to one board. So I was okay with that, which actually was kind of a cool one to play though. Looking back at it though. But
yeah. Boards having unique gimmicks was always fun. So I'm hoping
yeah, I'm hoping that this
that it's
wait a minute.
play loop is bonus stars. I hope they have a
Mhm.
toggle for bonus stars again, and I hope because we always play with classic bonus stars, but I don't know if you remember that game has some stupid ass bonus stars in
No,
superstars.
no, it was like use the most stickers and all of that stuff. I was like, heck no, we ain't doing all this. That's just weird.
Yeah, I don't want that again. That better be an option to put classic ones on because we've seen happening spaces.
Yeah, so I feel
Alright,
like at
other thing.
least for Super Mario Party, I feel like there should be set up to actually deliver a wonderful experience. I hope they really have to knock it out the park because we can't afford the mainline Mario Party series moving forward though, kind of trashy or whatnot, especially after the good reception of Superstars though. So they got to move forward. They can't afford to take any steps back at this point.
Yeah, Superstars is a fucking great game, and it sold really well. So they better understand what makes Mario Party good again.
Yeah. All right. So I
It's
guess
that's about it for that game. Yeah, it's I'm
yeah.
excited, but I'm holding my breath.
Yeah, so I think that's about it for that one though. Steven, you should be able to see the list of where I play Super Mario Party up in the Discord chat though. I talked about every single one of those games before that though. So was there anything first party wise you wanted to mention before the Super Mario Party Jamboree entry?
I'm looking. Oh, for the direct.
Yeah, like or I had all the direct
Okay.
announcement, all them games listed.
Yeah.
Anything above Super
Yeah.
Mario Party? Was there anything you wanted to give your 2 cents?
I'll talk about some things quick. Mario and Luigi Brothership looks so fucking good. I'm glad they're doing a new one instead of a remake. I'm so excited for that game. I just got to see more of it. But the style looks so amazing. It really looks polished for doing 3D. Like for a franchise transitioning in the true 3D for the first time, they did it quite well. Um, the Nintendo World Champions NES game, I bought that already, so I don't have much to say.
I think
Like
we're the
it
only
look,
two that are gonna get that thing, which is gonna be interesting. We might have to
yeah,
just do a stream or something like. I think there might be a way to set up a room with two people online or whatever, and just run through some challenges. So it'll just be me and you going at it, see who's the fastest.
yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. Nintendo Switch Sports getting basketball is stupid, but I'll probably play it. That game rising from the dead for absolutely no reason. I guess it's just because, theoretically, if the Switch 2 supports backwards compatibility, they just want to keep supporting that game.
Yeah, that's probably true. That they'll just treat that like
I
they're Wii Sports essentially, though, just to get out the door with something until they come up with something else. But yeah.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is one of the weirdest, stupidest things Nintendo's ever done because it was already on 3DS as a port of a Wii game, and now we're getting it as a port of a Wii game of a 3DS game. And I love Donkey Kong Country Returns. I'm glad that we're probably gonna get a definitive version of it, but apparently there's a couple different graphical mistakes compared to the original in the footage. So I hope
I
they
see
touch
that
those
though,
up.
but it's like, come on, this is June where we at. and they're still going to be working
Yeah,
on this game. And it's like it doesn't come
uh,
out till January of next year. So I'm like, people point that out.
yeah.
Okay, just don't worry about it too much.
No, I know, but like I'm holding my tongue because the footage we seen last year of Luigi's Mansion 2 looked the exact same as the footage this year.
Mm.
But think about that, Zard. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD was revealed a year in advance. That is stupid.
No, I think I think there was something more to that. Like, I think it was like around the what was it? Yeah, because the Mario movie. Oh my goodness, Steven, that Mario movie came out last year around like
Yeah.
winterish time. That's crazy to think about it. Oh shoot, that movie's almost like no, it's actually a little more than a year old now. My goodness, though. But yeah, I imagine most of those announcements, like you had a Peach announcement, a Luigi announcement, a Mario announcement, and a Mario versus Donkey Kong announcement. And I imagine they
That
wanted
was
that stuff earlier, close to the release of the movie though, but it just happened to be on the later part of the year. That was probably the only reason why they shoved so much Mario stuff in one direct
oh,
like that.
Nintendo's really been going out of the park with the fucking Mario stuff recently. It's good. I like it. But yeah, Returns HD I'll probably buy, but like I wish it wasn't $60. There's no reason it should be $60.
I wasn't even trying to dig up that can of worms though. I didn't even tread down that.
It's it's a it, it's a valid thing to say. The original was surely on Nintendo Selects. The 3DS one was also on Nintendo Selects.
And then people mentioned how the original Wii version was $50, and I was like, yeah, but all Wii games were $50 back then. I'm like, Nintendo's gonna do what they can in order to get a lot of money. All right, maximize, should I say, the profits.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they're doing it in January because of the Donkey Kong like part of Super Nintendo World opening.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think it is the early part of. Oh shoot. Well, I'm
And
trying to
then
think in terms of like the Japan
that
opening versus the Orlando opening. I'm trying to remember
yeah.
the release dates on those.
And from the stuff we've seen, there's gonna be it's gonna be themed around returns, so that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the reasons why I think they wanted to push out Returns as a Switch game, just to have something Donkey Kong going on with some of the other, broad appeal of the IP and stuff in terms of like a really casual person that might be able to just to
Oh, you
walk
there,
up in that
Zard?
theme park. Oh, I probably lost him. Hold up here.
Wait,
Wait, can you hear me
you
now?
there?
Can you hear me now? Nope. Dang, I must have lost him. Hold up here.
Yeah,
All right, no. Huh. I tell y'all,
Zard.
Discord half the time, it really don't like me. I'm telling y'all this. It really don't
Hello.
like me. All right, Steven, can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's weird. It's like I guess Discord just doesn't like my mic half the time. I'm not sure what's going
Yeah, I
on,
don't know.
but it's just weird like that. You can still hear me now, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, no, it's just that was purely Discord. I don't know why.
yeah, and back to the ones I was saying. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 and 3 was a really nice looking. It surprised me. Like I'm listen, I was excited for Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake, but I wasn't like actually gonna buy it day one. I'm buying it day one now.
I was about to say dang, but then again, you ain't. Well, no, you like RPGs. You ain't like Oh, dog!
I'm
I thought
not.
there was somebody in our group
I
that really didn't
listen.
like RPGs.
I like RPGs, but I don't play a lot of them. Like I need to be in an RPG mood. I still haven't beaten Dragon Quest 11. It's not because it's
Oh,
a bad game. It's because I'm just not good with finishing RPGs.
hmm.
But yeah, it was really cool how they just
Oh,
Quest 3 and then like a couple seconds later the music starts playing again and you see the other two games. It was a really good way to reveal it. But yeah, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 coming 2025. I guess that makes sense because they take place chronologically later.
yeah. It's an interesting way how they basically were gonna
Yeah, it looks
release
cool.
those games. Yeah,
Last two things I'll mention. You can hear me, right? Sorry, cut out
yeah.
again. Okay, yeah. Last two things I'll mention. The Nintendo Switch Online, we actually got some pretty good stuff. Perfect Dark is cool, and then Metroid Zero Mission. Fucking finally, we have literally the best versions of almost every Metroid game on Switch. Now we're
Just
just missing
need
Samus Return.
yeah, Samus Returns. Last
And let's
one,
be
man.
honest, with the amount of 3DS ports we've been getting, we're gonna get Samus Returns.
If not even on the Switch, it'll be on the Switch too. If
Only
that
makes sense.
happens.
And then Zelda Four Swords. Zelda Four Swords is really cool. Zard?
Yeah. No, I wasn't saying nothing, but
Hello.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought I heard you start talking. Zelda Four Swords is really fucking cool. We played it the other night. It was funny.
Dang, I still need to catch y'all when y'all are playing it because I still hadn't dabbled with that game yet.
Oh, I will definitely play it again. That's the thing. It's not like it's a one and done thing for me, and it's only like an hour and a half long.
Oh, that's not too bad. Though I still, even hearing about that, I was like, cool, that's a nice experience though. But come on, Nintendo, freaking give me Four Swords Adventure. Like that's where the real meat is at. Like honestly, like Four Swords is like an appetizer. Four Swords Adventure is like the main course. And that's what I really want to see though. But it is a step in the right direction though. I
Yeah.
just don't know how
And
they'll handle it.
or everyone would have their own screen, so it'd be perfectly fine.
No. In terms of like having a bigger screen and then have like a slightly small, it'll be a little weird in terms of the setup though. I guess it's possible. You just wouldn't have like a one screen to fit your whole entire TV. It's gonna be shrunken down a little bit and then have a smaller screen in a corner or whatever though. You just have to
Well,
do
yeah,
something
there
like that.
there are some games that do that, like Mega Man Zero, Legacy Collection or whatever, replaces the DS. That game was originally on DS. They just have a small screen. I'm pretty sure Luigi's Mansion 2 HD does something similar to
Hmm.
replace the bottom screen. Nintendo usually finds a good workaround. Um, but yeah, the Four Swords is really cool. And then the last thing I'll mention is the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. I'm not big on fighting games, but even I cannot understate the importance of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 getting a re-release. That game, a lot of people are excited for to come back.
Are you
So,
are you getting the game?
probably, but I'm getting it on Steam if anything.
Gosh dang it. See, I'm upset with y'all keep getting this mess up on Steam, though. Have me be the only one that's going to pick up this game physically on the Nintendo Switch. And then years from now, when we're going to be looking back at some of these great games and reminiscing on the Nintendo Switch, and y'all going to be like, dang, I don't have a physical version. And that mess is going to be selling for over $100 a pop. And I'm going to be looking over there at mine. I'm going to be like, bruh, could have been like me. Bought it on the Switch at launch and wait until Steam it goes on sale and pick it up there.
That's true. Maybe I will just do that. Maybe I'll double dip, but I'm definitely gonna get it on Steam eventually.
I just hate there's no uh, cross play for now. So it's like wherever
Yeah.
you're playing it on is where you got to have your friends up on. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, but at least they could have done it too. They could have just used Capcom IDs, which you have to make for Street Fighter 6 anyway.
I kind of wish they did. I don't know, but yeah. So that was all your thoughts, right? Anything else, or was that about it?
Not no. After Mario, everything after Mario Party now is good.
Okay, all right. So now we're all caught back up, and you already heard our thoughts about Super Mario Party. So we'll go ahead and keep on rolling because now we have the Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, which that is scheduled to come out on September 26th. I don't know about you, Steven, but September, October, and November are getting really busy. Not even just for Nintendo, but along with some of these other third-party games, also with some of the games that are scheduled to come out for Xbox as well as PlayStation and stuff like that, though. But man, this one really
Mm.
caught me by surprise because when we were watching this thing, I did a reaction stream, so y'all can check that out on the channel, though. But this one right here, I was like, what on earth? Like I saw Link shooting up a arrow up towards Zelda, and those moments where he was kind of going off into the rift. That's the official term for that stuff he falls up into. And then the second Zelda started running, I was like, oh my goodness. after 30 something long years. Like what? We hit the 35th anniversary recently for the Legend of Zelda series. So it's a little more than 35 years. We finally managed to get Zelda as a playable character in a mainline game. We're not talking about no CDI or Cadence of Hyrule or nothing like that. Or what's the other one? Hyrule Warriors. Nothing weird like that. None of them spin-offs. Official 2D or 3D Zelda. Zelda is finally playable. Hence, the name actually finally makes sense. The Legend of Zelda. This ain't the Legend of Link anymore. Ooh.
Yeah, this game is looking cool. I'm I'm very excited for it, but I hope they handle it well. The fact that they're doing like almost like Breath of the Wild in 2D kind of makes me hope that this game has a bit tighter design than Breath of the Wild. Because, one of the main issues with Breath of the Wild is that there's no dungeons. Like, there's not really a good way that the game tests what you've learned.
I
So they
feel
just kind of need to find out that whether it's like limiting the amount of echoes you could use in dungeons, they gotta do something.
Yeah, because I feel like the one thing that makes the 2D Zeldas and the 3D Zeldas uniquely different, at least moving from Breath of the Wild onward into the future, is the fact how the 3D Zeldas now won't have like traditional dungeons in a way like how we really like those anymore. That will probably mainly stay within the 2D lines. Because I feel like, it's weird to have a 2D Zelda and not have an actual dungeon. Like you look at Link's Awakening, and that just made sense to have dungeons up in there. So I'm pretty sure we're getting dungeons in these. It's gonna be more so how, like what you're saying earlier, how are they kind of structured? Because if you're able to go around making these echoes, which mind you, these echoes are basically anything you can copy out of the world. It's simple from like a thing as like a table or a shrub or a tree, all the way to like fighting enemies and stuff like that after you kill them and stuff. So the fact you can literally place anything wherever you want, there might be some limitations. We just don't know what it is yet, though. It does. It's gonna make things kind of interesting in terms of like how you're gonna progress to what could be a dungeon or whatever. They could limit echoes or say something where it's like, oh, you're in like a weird rift dungeon or whatever. The only things you can copy are in this dungeon. They could set limitations like those, and if they were to do something like that, Steven, then that could perfectly balance and make that feel like a traditional dungeon all over again. So
Oh,
who's to
yeah.
say? Who's to say? So it could feel normal by the time we're going through and doing it. So that's my hope.
Yeah. I guess some other things. I like that they're doing the Link's Awakening style again. Like, obviously, they probably did it because, why waste all those assets like that they had made?
Oh yeah, that's
But yeah,
probably one of the reasons why they're able to turn around and make this game a little bit quicker.
yeah. Well, to be fair, it's been 3 years since Link's Awakening remake. Oh, actually, no, it's been fucking 5. Never mind.
Oh well, then no, no shoot, that was
Oh
plenty
my
of time
god,
for that was plenty
what
of
the?
time for the no, yeah, because Link's Awakening came out in 2019 and it is
That's
2024.
that is fucked up. That doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right that
Hey,
we're fucking.
no, I'm telling you this, Steven. Everything that's pre-COVID 20 before 2020 is a weird time distortion because 2020 messed us all completely up. It's weird because
Yeah,
anytime I
because what?
refer to anything before 2020 now, it just feels so weird now. It's just ugh.
Yeah, like 2020 was Animal Crossing, Xenoblade One, and like I don't even fucking know what else at that
Hyrule
point. Jesus.
Warriors, Age of Calamity.
Yeah, just it was that weird time,
Oh, and
but at
Paper
the same
Mario, the
time,
Origami King, and Clubhouse. Was Clubhouse games that year? Huh.
no, that was that was
Maybe that was the
that might have
following
been
year.
2021. I don't know,
Following
but
year.
yeah, either way, it was just a weird ass time to have like be a Nintendo fan. They did a pretty good job at keeping games releasing though.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Back to what I was saying though. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is looking cool. I like what I see. The freedom of a 3D Zelda game in the 2D top down environment is interesting. I'm just happy because I've wanted a new original 2D Zelda for a while. I didn't know when we were gonna get it, but it's been what I think it's been 11 years since Link Between Worlds, so we were way overdue.
Yeah. Way overdue.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember, Link Between Worlds already kind of made steps in this direction, where you could go to Ravio and you could rent some of the items in like whenever you'd like.
You
Like
know what? I
you
kind of
could
forgot
get like
about
a
that.
hook shot really early.
Mm.
I like it. It allowed for like some freedom. You could get some heart pieces much earlier than intended because of it. And I'm pretty sure the game had freedom depending on like which dungeon you want to go to. It made it very interesting.
Yeah.
But this game is looking a lot more open, so I hope they handle it well because that's my only issue with games like Breath of the Wild is that they kind of feel unfocused because it's too open.
Yeah, I just like this how the fact now we have somebody playable outside of Link, so you're not going around slashing a sword though. And I was thinking most of the community was gonna be like welcoming this and thinking yes, Anuma and the rest of the development team finally heard us out. They're finally giving us a bone. And I like how literally after people begged for this mess for over 35 years, there were still people out there complaining like, well, why in the world does Zelda not hold a sword or whatever though, or whatever? Like, do
Yeah, I
you
don't
want
get that.
Zelda to play the same as Link, or do you want another Legend of Link game? Because I'm like, you got to make them different. And she doesn't. Yes, or I guess some people point out like, well, she got a sword over there in Twilight Princess. What is she more capable of? It's more so on the magic side of things. Like that's what she's really known for. And that's out of Link's control or whatever though. Like obviously he's all about the sword master and stuff though. So you got to have these characters play a little bit differently though. So like you can't have your cake and eat it too with some of these people.
Yeah, it's fucking. I don't know. People just want to play. Like it's weird. It's. I don't think they. From what they sound like, it's not that they wanted playable Zelda. It's that they wanted. They just wanted Link, but a girl. Like they just wanted to play as Link, but have be a girl you play as instead, which is kind of just stupid. Zelda would obviously play different.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that that's just the vocal minority, which, that can typically be the case with a lot of things when you're looking at stuff on Twitter and stuff. They're not going to speak for like all of the casuals out there or whatever. People that are just going to
Yeah,
casually go
this
up in the game store and just say, oh, there's a new Legend of Zelda game. Wait, this one looks like you can play as Zelda. Oh, that's kind of cool. I'm getting this. Or
yeah
getting this for the
this
kid or
game is
whatever.
this game is absolutely going to do well. This game, out of all the games in that direct, has the most views on the individual trailer, with like 3 million or something.
I think it's like
Like
five,
this
I
game
thought.
has like
Oh.
yeah, probably five by now, but like it had the most views out of all the actual released trailers. And also, they're doing the Switch Lite, the golden one, to coincide with it.
Oh,
Which
that's the thing I
holy shit,
forgot about. Yep.
I'm,
It,
it looks good.
it looks good. And I was like, dang, if I were to pick up a Switch Lite, it would be this one. But I'm like, I really
Yeah, but
don't need it. But I'm like, man, that mess looks kind of cool.
but if you ask me, the only like the Switch Lite, I actually do like because it is the best form factor for a Switch. It feels really nice in the hand. When, in my opinion, the original Switch in handheld mode kind of feels
Oh
uncomfortable.
no, it's because of them Joy Cons and stuff. I know exactly what you're talking about because my brother has a Switch Lite and I held it before, and I was like, no, Switch Lite definitely has the best form factor. It's just if you want a bigger screen or the capability of docking, then that's where it lacks. So it's give
Yeah,
and take
it's
with
gonna.
it.
But like, think about it. You know how like nowadays a lot of people want 3DSs, even though like the 3DS is dead. There's still a lot of people that like modding those things. When modding the Switch gets a lot easier, people are gonna be getting the Switch Lites. So it
Mm,
might be a good idea to jump on that and get the special editions.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe I'll just get it and I won't open it for a while. I'll see.
Mm,
It's only Switch Lites are obviously cheaper, so I
yeah.
could.
Yeah, so not too bad, not too bad though. So that was probably my genuine shock of the show, outside of one other one, but at least for something that's gonna be quick and tangible, that's literally gonna be out. Oh gosh, August, September. Yeah, it's literally gonna be out in a couple of months. That's crazy to think now from where we're at. It's just gonna be out almost in a couple of months. So yeah, so really nice stuff right there. We switched back over to the third party, or what I would say third party, but it's actually a first party game, but not by Nintendo. Because yes, we saw this show up at this Summer Game Fest with Lego Horizons Adventure, a lot of people, if you just did not know about the other gaming companies out there, might just say, "Oh, this looks like a kind of a nice Lego game or whatever." Though some people might fail to realize that that was actually a first party Sony game that showed up in a Nintendo Direct. Albeit, yes, it's crossover with Lego and stuff. But this is crazy because when you sit back and think about this, Steven, we had a first party Sony game, now a first party Xbox game, along with first party Switch games, all in one presentation and a Nintendo Direct. Regardless, though, you tell me that this mess was going to happen 10 years ago, I want to believe you. And that's just crazy to think about in it of itself, though.
Yeah, Lego Horizon's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I like. Here's the thing. I'd rather get this compared to like a Horizon Cloud version. I'm glad they're not doing any stupid shit like that because Horizon Zero Dawn probably wouldn't be able to run on Switch. But like, still, it just feels weird. It's definitely gonna sell better on Switch than it will on fucking PS5. Like, who on PS5 is gonna buy a game that actually looks fun?
Yeah. I mean, unless you're just a diehard Horizon fan, those are the people that might get it on PS5 or just say, you know what, if I'm going to get this game, I'm going to get it with my PlayStation 5 or, yeah, no, it is
Yeah.
PlayStation 5. I don't think it's coming out on PS4. Yeah, it's just PS5, Switch, and I think eventually there might be
It
a
looks
Steam version or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it plays like the other Lego games, like a top-down perspective, beat 'em up style. Which it's just gonna be a nice, fun Lego game. I hope because Lego games are pretty fun.
Yeah. So not much more
No,
to say about it though, but the fact that it just showed up in this presentation, breaking some news right then and there, for that sole reason alone.
it was
Whew.
cool.
Yeah. So I think outside of that, then we had some indie stuff show up in the presentation. I would say the most notable one was probably Stray, which I remember when that originally launched on the PS5, and you had people talking about this cat game and stuff like that. Though that's scheduled to come out holiday though, but there ain't no way I'm getting this mess on the Switch though. But have you played that game, Steven?
Stray, I have not. I think the only one
Okay.
that played it is Yoshi. He
Okay.
said it was good though.
Hmm. Of course, he'll say it
It's
because he has
short.
an actual cat, but it's not a long adventure though. And I like how they started off the presentation. It was like "Long live the king" on a segment right there where the cat fell. Oh man, I got a good chuckle out of that though. But yeah, that was pretty good. Now I would say the last major third party announcement we got out of this presentation, one more for Capcom. They said we got one more in me though. The Ace Attorney Investigation Collection coming out on September 6th. Once again, very strong September month right there though. And I love the fact that they're finally bringing this mess over to the West because the first game in the series for the Ace Attorney Investigation series featuring Miles Edgeworth, we got here in the stateside. However, it's that second one in the series we never got localized. It was only there in Japan. So that is brought over there. So now, when you look at everything Ace Attorney wise, Ace Attorney 1, 2, 3, that trilogy, 4, 5, 6, that trilogy, the Great Ace Attorney, both of those games, the duology for that, and now the Ace Attorney Investigation Collection, the duology with that, that's wait, 1, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's like not that's 10 games. 10 Capcom Ace Attorney games all on one system for the Nintendo Switch that you can get. And once I get this game physically in my collection, I'll have every single one of the Ace Attorney games physically for my Nintendo Switch. So at this point, Capcom has no good reason to not give us finally Ace Attorney 7 at this point, though, because they went back and remade slash remastered all of these games and they're all available on one system. So now you got to make something new. You can't re-release anything else. The whole series is here now, and that just makes me a happy boy.
That is really cool. I'm like, just for preservation's sake, it's cool to have them all in one place. I was just gonna say the only one that's missing is the crossover with Professor Layton, apparently.
That's the only thing, so not like necessarily mainline or some kind of spin-off-y kind of thing, though. That I guess that's the weird crossover-y kind of game, though. And I think bought that game on my 3DS right before the eShop closed. And because I knew if they, or I doubt they probably would have brought that over to the Switch or anytime soon because it's also dealing with Professor Layton. So I think that's one of the reasons why I went and picked up that game right before the eShop closed, though, for that reason alone. But now, outside of that one crossover, this is it. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this because now it's like what I got Ace Attorney, I have the Legend of Zelda game. Oh gosh, what else is in September? I thought there was one more thing in my list. I had September. Uh, no, yeah, that I guess that's it. So Ace Attorney, Legend of Zelda, and Astro Bot from for my PS5. I think all three of those games come out in September. Oh, along with I think the DLC for Persona 3 Reload. That's either September or October. I think it might be September. And if so, that's like three or four different things I gotta look forward to playing in September. So oh man, this is getting a little wild, Steven. Get a little wild.
Oh yeah, this direct was way too overwhelming. There's so much shit in it.
Yeah. Hmm. It's getting tough out here in the streets, man. It's just getting tough though. But yeah, so I think that's basically it in terms of like all of the stuff in this direct, except for their closer. Which,
Wait,
mind you,
can I
oh wait, or
can
did
I
you have
say
one more
one
thing?
thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I see in the random other games the Funko Fusion game looks terrible. Funko Fusion looks absolutely fucking awful on Switch.
That looks like your kind of game, though, Steven.
Now, if I buy that game, it's anywhere else but Switch. It looks so bad on Switch, and the fact they even showed gameplay was very brave of them.
You know that game wasn't looking good, probably even on the PS5. Let's keep it real. Like it can't look
Yeah,
that horrendous for a basic looking game like that. Let's
yeah. And the fact I already don't really like Funko Pops, I'm not buying this.
no. Yeah, so I don't know. Was there anything else you wanted to mention, or was that about it?
No, no,
Okay.
I'm excited to talk about the last one.
All right, so then we got to talk about the closeout. So the closeout, obviously, and the lead up to this presentation, me and Steven were going back and forth, and he was pretty adamant on the fact that how he's like, no, there's a good chance we might get Metroid Prime 4 to show up. And I was like, dude, if they're gonna show anything Metroid Prime, they're gonna give us Metroid Prime 2, and they're gonna call it a day. Ain't no way they're showing this game up until the Switch 2 has been officially announced, and they're gonna put that game side by side to kind of really show off the hardware for the new system though. I was fully I was fully content on them doing that, and I was gonna be okay with it though. But no, they opened up with that little cinematic thing and said Galactic Year 20 XXX. And I was like, oh shoot, this is Metroid. So I was thinking, all right, this is either gonna be a Prime something. I was thinking it was Prime 2. But when I saw that new shit come out, Samus came out through the top, did a little barrel roll flip over there, and then we started seeing all this chaos and stuff breaking out in terms of like all these people shooting from above on the ground and stuff,
Yeah.
aliens and stuff beating up on the side. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're looking
Now,
at Metroid
the moment
Prime 4.
the moment that they did a cold open, I knew that it was gonna be a Metroid Prime 4. Because Metroid Prime Remastered was just shown in a direct in the middle. They weren't gonna end the showcase with like a Metroid Prime 2 remaster. They wouldn't end the showcase with that, you know?
Yeah.
Like it would have been a much better idea to end with something like uh the Zelda game. It would have been better to end with that. When they're ending a showcase with the Metroid game, I was knew right off the bat this is Metroid Prime 4. I was so excited. And yeah, and then when Samus comes out and Sonic reminded me that it's the Prime suit specifically that we see. It looks so good.
Man, oh man. I was looking at that stuff. I was like, dang, like Retro Studios, they never miss. Whatever they're working
Yeah,
on, they got the hardware down to a T. Now, mind you, the road to this monumental moment, remind you, this game was originally announced in 2017, the same year the Nintendo Switch launched. And at that time, during what was E3, yeah, E3 was a thing still back then, though. Mind you, remember that was the same E3 presentation where they announced Metroid Prime 4, and later on, like not even like 30 minutes after that was done with and concluded in a treehouse event, they said, hey, here's Samus Returns to kind of keep you entertained for the meantime, and that came out in 2017 for the Nintendo 3DS though. And I was like, dang, we've been waiting on thing for like a couple of years. Leads you up to the 2019 moment where it was like in January, one of the people came out was with a white background, no music, bowing in front of us and say, "Sorry, we gotta delay this game majorly and start over from ground zero." Like it looked like they didn't hardly save anything from whatever that studio that happened to be working on this beforehand, though. And they confirmed they switched this over to Retro Studios. And then fast forward from that point, 2019 to now, 5 additional more years. So it's been 7 years of not really seeing anything more than like that JPEG they showed us at the very beginning in 2017. They show us the game and not just no trailer, not just like just a standard trailer or whatever, or just a JPEG or whatever though. They actually give us the release date. It's coming out in 2025. It's coming out next year. And I was like, dang.
It
I was
looks
like,
so
oh,
good.
it looks good. We don't know where it will be like the springtime, summertime, fall time, or maybe a holiday game or whatever though. But I'm fully confident it's either gonna be one of these two scenarios. It's gonna be day and date with the release of the Switch 2, even if it was like spring or summer release, or it's gonna be sometime in the holiday and it'll be like a dual SKU. So it'll be
Yeah,
for Switch and Switch 2.
Zard, it is absolutely releasing with day and date with Switch 2. I remember when I said this to you, I said there's only two options. The two options are it either releases at the end of 2024 or it releases in 2025 to coincide with the Switch 2, and then they'll have enhanced graphics that they'll show us later.
Yeah,
Think
so
about it. Once yeah, when doing they're doing what they did with Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild they revealed originally, and then they showed first footage we seen of the Switch was people playing Breath of the Wild on it.
yeah, this will definitely be a technical showcase because from what we're seeing right now, if that's how it's going to look like on just a basic old Switch, you can only imagine what that could possibly look like on a Switch 2 at this given point, though. So if it definitely looks even a step beyond what we just saw in this trailer, yes, they're really going to use that as a heavy marketing emphasis
Yeah,
for the Switch 2. Now, mind you,
yeah,
normally Metroid games they don't usually sell that well. I can't remember. No, Metroid Prime Remaster because we report on the fiscal reports, me and you, every 3 months whenever we get them. Metroid
yeah,
Prime Remaster never sold more than 1 million because otherwise I would remember that during our reports though. So it hadn't even sold that much though. But Dread got
yeah.
it's basically around a little north of 3 million roughly or so though. But
Which already made it the best-selling Metroid game.
yeah, so I'm thinking, hey, if they get this sucker timed out right to be a launch day game for the Switch 2, this could break the curse and kind of lift Metroid up to a whole nother level, especially considering how this is
Yeah,
not a 2D Metroid; it's a 3D Metroid. So it's gonna it's gonna gravitate to more fans out there, Nintendo fans or just casual fans in general, though.
yeah.
So
No,
this
I would
could be
love
their
that because
breakout. This could be the game. This could be the breakout
yeah,
one.
because before Breath of the Wild, Zelda was always a big franchise, but no, after Zelda was elevated to a whole new level with Breath of the Wild. So like, it really brought it to like the top of, Zelda is now right next to Mario when it comes to Nintendo's big releases.
Yeah, that's crazy because Breath of the Wild now is like a little north of 30 plus million, and Tears of the Kingdom, we knew we weren't going to sell that good, but the fact how it almost sold 20 million in like a blink of an eye, and that's where it's
It
kind
was
of
in
been
the
at
first
right
week.
now. It was like, yeah.
I'm pretty It made the bulk of its sales within the first 3 days, which on one hand is kind of sad
Hmm.
that it basically dropped off immediately, but still, Nintendo immediately made back their money, I think.
Yeah,
Either way, Metroid Prime 4, the remastered was a tech demo. Like everything that was in Prime Remastered was absolutely a tech demo for 4 because it looks so good. Just from
okay.
the just from the footage we see, and I'm assuming we seen the opening, like Samus dropping down on this planet, seeing an attack and all that. It looks like the opening of the game, which, oh my god, It just the cinematic stuff that they were able to do is really interesting.
Yeah. Mm.
I hope I hope that whatever they do for like a Switch 2 enhanced version actually looks good. We'll see though, because the game already looks pretty good on Switch footage. I don't know if you remember people saying, did you see anyone saying, "Oh, this game looks too good for Switch"?
Actually, I saw a few people out there kind of saying this. I think there
Anyone who
was
said that,
because they were wondering like whether or not that was like Switch 2 footage or something, or this was running on the PC.
no,
I saw like a few comments like that.
anyone who's saying that hasn't played Remastered.
No, and that's what I was thinking too. I was like, yeah, that's how you know the people that hadn't played remaster. Because I mean, there wasn't anything that I saw from remaster to what was now we can call this Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. That's the official title for this thing, though. But
Yeah,
from looking at Prime Remaster and Beyond, it had the same style. Like the art style was basically the same. Obviously, it looked a little bit better than Metroid Prime Remaster, though, but they definitely took that as a base and kind of, added on to it, as you will, though, with this, though. So you can see a lot of similarities between the two. So I was like, hey, if they said that this looked too good, yeah, for sure, they probably never saw Prime Remaster.
yeah. It's just so cool. They ended a direct with it. I was right. I fucking knew they were gonna do it.
Mhm. Yeah.
You thought you doubted me. You thought we were waiting a little bit longer to see it. I thought it was about time that they'd show it for the first time at least, and then they would show it again in September.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But the fact that we're confident now to actually show that to us, I was like, huh, that is interesting. But I guess at least at this point, they probably already have in the back of their minds like a concrete date that they want to shoot for or an internal target. And honestly, the plan can be yes, we're going to release it with the Switch 2, but we can't necessarily say that yet because we did say in a upcoming statement before the Nintendo Direct happened was like, hey, make sure we're not showing anything Switch 2 or whatever though. So to kind of play coy with it, they had to just say a general 2025, so they can always specify about it later. So I think that's probably what's running on in the back of their minds right now. But yeah, overall, I'll say, that's one heck of a way to conclude this direct, though. And then, just looking at everything that they showed in this direct, from the Mario Luigi stuff to everything that showed all the way to the end with the Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. This is a wild direct that I necessarily wasn't expecting Nintendo to pull off in what is actually the 8th year of the Switch's life. Like the thing is already 7 years old and some change. So this is like the 8th year it's on the market. You wouldn't think that Nintendo had this much fire left in the engine, that much gasoline left in the tank. They keep on going for the rest of this year because it's like I know a lot of people are hungry for Switch 2 news and stuff like that for a potential reveal, release date, specs, all that kind of information though. But when you got this many new games, like Mario Luigi coming up out of the grave and stuff, they finally showcase off a new look for Metroid Prime 4. We got you covered for the start of 2025 with a new Mario versus Donkey Kong game. And hey, even in the lead up to the holiday times, you got like in October, you got a new Mario Party game, and even in September, a brand new Legend of Zelda game, but not just any Zelda game, or a game where Zelda is actually playable. There's a lot just to look forward to in the lead up to this holiday, and even rolling into the first part of 2025 that will just kind of keep you occupied and keep attention elsewhere while Nintendo's still working out the logistics and stuff, how they want to do their Switch 2 stuff. I just never expected this out of this presentation. It is definitely up there in terms of like one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, it was kind of insane that like they have this much stuff in what they were considering a weak year. Like they started the year with like Mario versus Donkey Kong. We immediately had Thousand Year Door remake on the horizon. Luigi's Mansion 2. Like the beginning of the year was slow, but now we're getting, basically all the new games they showed were like new games. Like we only had one. Like we had Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, but we got the reveal of 3 new first-party games here, which is crazy.
Yeah,
That's that's kind of unprecedented. These are all pretty big games too.
yeah, and I was expecting the name of the game would have been remakes, remasters, and ports. Those were the big three things I was expecting in here. And yes, we did get a remaster, port, whatever you want to call it, for Donkey Kong Country. Though all the other first party games were all brand spanking new, and I certainly wasn't expecting that.
It's really cool though.
And then the third party game was on point. I think this is like the biggest scope of third party games that I'm actually personally interested in that I've ever seen in any one of the past Nintendo Directs. Like between the Ace Attorney stuff, which that's technically 2 games in one, but I'll just count it as one. Dragon Quest 3, and then Dragon Quest 1 and 2. That's technically 3 games, but I'll count them as two. And then Marvel versus Capcom. I don't think I Yeah, that's like 4 third party games, and that might be like 2 or 3 more than what I normally will pull out of a Nintendo Direct in terms of third party games. I was like, dang, they were just clicking on all cylinders with this one though. The NSO expansion games were great between the GBA and the 64 games. I was like, overall, was a well rounded presentation though. Ooh,
Yeah, would probably best direct in the Switch era, right? I think that's fair to say.
yeah, it's definitely up there as one of the best. Like when we, because it'll be interesting to kind of go through a whole entire list of saying, all right, here are all the directs, like all of the fall directs. Here are all the spring or the summer ones or whatever though. And these were all the major first party games that were announced up in there, and some notable third parties. We'll have to do a comparison at that. It's like I have like a good handful of ideas to do when we start closing out the Switch era though. But in terms of podcast format, it'll be interesting to kind of go through all of those though. But this one definitely is going to stand out, at least for me personally though, because like this one was just it was just amazing. Like, gosh, dang, you wouldn't think this system is that old. And the fact that this old system is putting out this much stuff, and when you look at PlayStation over there, it's like, well, dang, PlayStation, you really only got like barely 3 games over there coming out this year, though. It only really feels like one notable one with Astrobot. And then you're looking over here at Xbox, it's like they got a couple. They ain't bad games, but it's only just a couple. And you look at
Yeah,
Nintendo
but
putting
they
out like
also
4 or 5. I'm like, holy shoot.
yeah, but Xbox literally has no exclusives, so
Yeah, yeah, that's
like
true.
they literally have no exclusives to the system, which isn't a bad thing, but at the same time, like I don't know, like there's the Switch would not be doing nearly as good if it didn't have exclusives. Like you kind of need those. You need a couple at least. You need your main stuff to be exclusives.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a big deal, obviously. It's just it just feels weird because like gaming's changing, I guess.
Yeah, it really is. So no, I think that's basically it in terms of all of the announcements that were basically revealed in this Nintendo Direct. So overall, a very solid presentation, though. And this was a little weird. I mentioned this earlier before you even got here, Stephen. Though, but this was like the first, I think, podcast I done. There might have been some in the past though, but at least in recent memory, where every one of my podcast thoughts for tonight were all Nintendo centric focused. Like you could almost call this a Nintendo podcast. Everything from oh shoot, I was looking at the wrong thing. Everything from the Mario movie to them canceling Luigi Mansion 2 pre-orders, Pyro falling from leaking, the shareholder meeting, and then all the direct announcement stuff. All of that was related with Nintendo. So it's been a hot minute. It's been nothing but Nintendo. I hate how you missed some of those earlier things though, but you know, the ball keeps rolling and the show keeps on flowing though. But
Hey, we talked about the main things. That's all that matters.
yeah, and somehow I still managed to stretch this out 2 hours. I thought I was gonna get done with this mess in an hour until you popped in, though. But nah, I think that's about it though. So let the fine people know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at Steven Jr. 1231 or on the collab channel I do with some friends, Spaghetti Disco on YouTube.
Alrighty, and I think that'll basically do it for this episode right here, though. Sorry for some of the technical hiccups when Steven popped in, and no, there was like one Steven I did like a little earlier on though. I was like, I don't know what the heck happened. It was real weird though. But obviously, if you hadn't been
Yeah,
listening to this
yeah.
on the audio formats and stuff, I'll have all those kinks worked out, so it really won't feel like you you heard anything wrong. To be honest, though, but for those watching this on YouTube, though, thanks for understanding, though. But that's basically going to do it in terms of my ZardCast podcast episode 82. So if you really like this video, make sure you're going to hit that like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. If you haven't been listening to this on one of my audio formats, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, or anything else, though, make sure you're going to hit the like button over there, give it a short little review, let people know exactly, when there's a couple of dudes that love talking about Nintendo related stuff or anything gaming news that happens to pop up within the gaming sphere, though. But that's going to do it for this one, though. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, and into my next ZardCast podcast episode, that being episode 83, I'll see y'all later.